angry. Now let me clarify. I'm pretty upset with myself. And this is not something that, this is something I go through often. When it comes to content creation, I often find that I'm mad with myself because I never feel like I'm doing enough. I never feel like I am creating enough content for me. Let's be clear about that. I am a full-time content creator for other people, but I never am creating enough content for my own social media profiles and channels, especially the one that I want to grow on the most, right here on YouTube. Now, as I was going through this thought process of why do I always end up mad at myself about how much content I am not making, I think I've boiled it down to really three things, three of the worst traits that I have when it comes to content creation. The first of those absolutely terrible YouTube traits that I have is my perfectionism. And I know this is not something that's unique to me, but it's something that I've been dealing with, and I've been dealing with the entire time that I've been trying to create content on YouTube. And my perfectionism comes out in a couple of different ways. The first being the way that I'm shooting a video. I want to make these incredibly cinematic, amazing vlogs like I've said before, like Peter McKinnon and Maddie and Casey Neistat and all these people that when I started YouTube, I idolized. These were the people that I was watching and that I wanted to be like. I wanted to create content like. So when a video doesn't look or feel that way, I get pretty defeated and I either just don't post it or I stop editing it or I don't know what I do with it. The other place that my perfectionism comes out, and I actually think that this is worse than the first one, is in the fact that I have to say the perfect thing. I have to put out content and say the thing that I want to say in a way that it cannot be argued with. I don't want to get into a comment section and people coming at me and telling me that I'm wrong and all those kind of things, and I have this incessant need to say the thing that I want to say in a way that almost is I can't argue with him. And it's really hard for me to put something out where I'm ooh, I could have said that better, and there's a problem with that, and I need to stop doing that. And I know this, and I'm figuring out how. One of my other terrible YouTube traits, I think, is really centered around the ideation phase of content creation. And that is the phase where you're coming up with the ideas of the content that you want to create. And just for some context, I think that's important, is I really started learning about YouTube and started learning about how to grow on YouTube in the bubble that is the search-based content, right? I 100% believe that if you want to grow the fastest and the best way, search-based content is probably the way to go. It's the easiest way to get started and to grow in just gaining influence through a specific niche and answering specific questions for people that they can search on YouTube for and find those answers and find you, and then you grow from there. That is absolutely one of the best ways to grow on YouTube, one of the fastest ways to grow on YouTube, and it's really how I grew my last channel. But one of the things about search-based content, and after you kind of come from that world, really any content that you create, there is something so scientific behind the way that you create content in that bubble, right? You have to think of every little detail. The thumbnail should match the title, and the keywords have to be perfect so that you can rank and search, and then your title has to be captivating and grab people's attention so that they click, and then you have to have this perfect hook that everything, just everything, is so meticulously thought out that at some point, the creativity dies. At some point, the simple act of creating something, of being creative, dies. The number one reason that I picked up a camera in the first place is because I had lost the creative outlet of music. I was a touring musician for 15 years. I played in bands. I absolutely loved the creativity that playing and creating music gave me. And when I moved to Florida in 2016, I lost that. Music was no longer part of my life. But I needed something creative to do. So I picked up a camera and started creating videos. And then there are other little events that triggered me to start creating content on YouTube, but it all comes back to creativity. This started as a creative outlet for me and became the creative thing that I want to do. It became the way that I wanted to tell stories, because my entire life, all I have ever wanted to do was tell stories. Even if those stories were as simple as somebody taking a walk around a building so that they could set up a camera and talk to it. This just sparks a whole nother question of like, am I a bad content creator? Am I a bad YouTuber? Do I just not know how to do this? And then I'm also like scared of that answer because I really want to do this. But I can do a whole video on like my overthinking about creating content and the optimization of content and all that kind of stuff and how it kills creativity, in my opinion. But I want to continue with this conversation about those traits that are the absolute worst traits that I have for YouTube content creation. With the next one being the one that I think absolutely kills me the most. And I think the first two really play into, and that is my consistency on this platform. It's impossible. I can't do it. I don't know. I think one of the big pieces of advice that is out there that I've always seen on creating content on YouTube and trying to grow a channel and make this your full-time job is consistency. You need to be consistent. You need to upload consistently to a specific audience in a specific niche to help them with a specific problem so that you can grow from there. And I am in no way, shape, or form saying that this doesn't work. 100% it works. I've seen it work for many different people in a lot of different time frames. Some people being able to do that in a time span of like 2 weeks and grow incredibly fast, and others who have done it over the course of years and grew incredibly slow, but at the end of the day, like they both have been successful in reaching that goal. I, on the other hand, have not. I'm really bad at this. And it's the one thing that I have tried to fix over and over. The one thing that I have tried to get just better at is my consistency. Those two things that I've already talked about, my perfectionism, the process around the ideation and the killing of my creativity, 1000% play a big part in why I am not able to be consistent, but those would just be excuses. I have to find a better process for being consistent.